Enjoy everybody, welcome back to another video. My name is Viet and this is week 12 of the training series. For my first session, I decided to go to Muro on Monday because there was a new reset happening at Rice Lining. And first on screen is this ungraded orange crime, but I've given it a V3 because I think it's quite a moderate climb. But the main focus for Monday was to tick off some of the projects that I've had set up at Muro, and this is the main one. I've called it City Hunter and it's a V5. So the first couple moves are not too bad, it's more to set up the dyno, and initially I had the orange foot, but then I thought it was way too easy, so I changed into like a really negative like jib, and that meant that keeping tension on my toes was much more important. And I think the really important thing about training and like setting routes for yourself is to target your weaknesses, because I mean I feel like I'm pretty confident at doing dynamic moves now, so the main priority for me is to work on things like body tension, and then obviously getting comfortable with holding different types of holds. So yeah, I'm able to send my project, but I do give myself like extra feet on the left just because I was kind of just like panicking, but that was really good to put that down quite quickly in the session. And then this is like the beta, I suppose, for a climb that I wanted to make. You know, since I put down that project, I wanted to make another one, and like it had a similar focus, like a similar ideology, that both climbs are meant to be targeting my tension, especially in my feet. And I've given it a V6 for now, but yeah, I've named it Nuggets because some of the holds look like chicken nuggets. So we begin off with a pretty bad like start. You get a decent pinch, but then your right hand is on this really textured, like I think it's like a rocky hold, and it makes the first move a really big crux because it's so hard to generate any power. And even though like it's obvious that it's meant to be a flag with your left foot, it's kind of hard to hold that position really well. And then into this is like the actual like inspiration for the whole climb, where I'm dynoing off the pink and white super hold. And then yeah, so I think there's two cruxes. The first crux is definitely the first move, and then instantly into that you have to do like you kind of sit on your right foot on that orange foot, and then you come into a micro hold. It's also like similar texture like rocky, and that's obviously something that I really want to work on because it's not often that you get to work with those type of holds. And yet this is the move where I'm just trying to figure out how to do this like coming move where you go from a like two hands wide and then come into one. I think it's a really good move to practice. And then yeah, this dyno was just like at first like I thought it was really easy, and it was just like a gimmick that you can just hit every single time. But then in a couple like tries that you might see later on my Saturday session, because I also went back to Muro, I tried it again, and it really showed me that if you underpowered the jump, it's really hard to hold, but also if you overpower, then it's like you have the same problem. So yeah, I think that V6 is like a really good project to work towards, and I have like roughly like a month left before I go back to uni. We're moving on to Tuesday session. This is the new set at Rise Climbing, and I'm highlighting this V2 Plus because it gave me a lot of problems on my flash attempt, and I did not realize that I had to do like, I didn't know that I had to move so precisely to be able to do this V2. And in general, I feel like the trend in the last like couple sets for Rise has that been the grading has gotten back to like its original level, where it's definitely not soft anymore, and it's setting a really high standard of like V2s and V3s aren't like just like really easy. There's really good movements, and I think it just forces really good body positions as well. Like for example, on this V3, you have to throw in this really nice heel hook at the end to match. One of my like bogey holds, I suppose, are these like crescent moon yellow holds, and whenever there's a V3, V4, V5, I always like to try it at Rise Climbing because the holds are just terrible. You expect them to be so much better, but then like when you're just like sequencing the moves together, it gets quite pumpy. And I feel like most of the time, the position that you need is like it's like a straight arm or the entire way. So it's kind of hard to pull through some moves, and that really forces you to like learn the sequence before you get on. This V3 is also disgustingly hard. I don't know why it's so hard. The first move is definitely the crux. Like your starting hold is terrible and the starting foot is terrible. And then I just kind of like freestyled it there. Tried to go for like a flip. But yeah, I should have just kept tension of the feet. But before we move on, just a quick shout to the Mongols, the Counter-Strike team. This is Sunday the 24th of August, and they just won the EWC. It's really cool. But yeah, getting back into the climbing. This upper section is quite hard because, okay, excuses out the way. I feel like my on parallel flagships are really poorly worn out now, and like I can barely feel my toes in the shoes, and then like it made this match finish so much harder because it feels like my foot is slipping on the holds. But yeah, since it was Tuesday and I kind of flipped the volume session to Tuesday rather than Monday, I was just going around doing some of the V3s on the new and the old sets. This climb is really nice. It's juggy, but the positions are really fun. And another really good thing which happened this week, or yesterday, Saturday, was Arsenal's win 5-0 against Leeds. That was really good. So yeah, kind of in a really good mood coming into this video, and it sort of reflects the feeling of this week as well. It was a really strong feeling week, and I was repping out some of my boulders on the board here at Rise. So then I made this like copycat boulder. I think it's much easier because like the ball is so limited, so the choices that I have of holds it's gonna be much easier because there's not as many holds, so I'm forced into using quite a few jugs. But the crux that I've made for myself here is like a really satisfying move, and even when you drop it, it's really satisfying, and it's really fun to learn. So I get the yellow pinch, which I'm really familiar with, and then I just like flick into this wooden hold. And holding the swing isn't even the main like issue. I feel like the main problem that I stumbled across was overpowering my jumps and then sometimes underpowering, because I need like the perfect amount of power to like float into the hold rather than like bouncing off it or getting like spat off. So yeah, whenever I'm training, I do think that in the past some of my boulders were quite like my style, and I wasn't really learning as much. But then now I feel like I'm putting more effort into creating moves and forcing my body into positions that I wouldn't normally like want to train. So I think this is the Sengo. I'm able to hold the swing, and then yeah, another like really desperate move. I do like a false match. It's not really like a perfect match, so I'm just trying to rep the boulder and try to get more confident with the moves. Because a really funny thing in climbing is like when you do a move for the first time after trying it like 10 times, I feel like after you do it for the first time you just can't fail it again. And a mindset that I think that is really useful is that you should think of yourself as like a really big computer, or like your body and your brain is collecting data, and every time you rep out a move you're getting closer and closer to 100%ing like that movement. So I think that's why it's so important to keep trying climbs even if you've done it already, because if you make the moves easier for yourself then you can apply that move to different climbs. So moving into Friday, I was feeling quite strong. I did take a couple of days off to rest, just listening to my body. I think that's another really important thing, that you should take a rest, even if it's unscheduled, to protect your body. And I'm back on this blue V5, the main project in the cave. And as you can see, I'm just going for like ground attempts because I was doing the crux move in isolation, and even though I didn't stick it completely, I feel like I was really close, and so I was just giving it a bunch of tries, and I feel like I have the right beta, and I have the right like idea for the moves, because the main takeaway from this boulder is that when you launch for the like juggy sloper, it's really important to dig your toes in. So if you watch my right foot, you can see how bent my toes are into the hold, and that gives me so much purchase to like bounce off it. But I think it's definitely like a really precise move that if I keep overpowering it, which I think is what I'm doing wrong, then I'll just be flung off. But then also if I don't generate enough power, then I just won't make the hold. I won't reach. And like I've seen like people do other betas like the 360 or the 180, but I feel like this doesn't expend too much energy, so I don't mind trying it again and again. And I feel like coming into this upcoming week, I think I'll put that project down quite quickly. I just need to like really use my attempts well now that I know the beta. And so moving into my final session of the week, I went back to Muro with my parents, and sticking to the theme of listening to my body, I wasn't feeling like perfect, and so even though I was climbing and attempting to repeat my sends and also like just work on the V6, I felt like it was important to make some easier climbs. So this is a V4 on the, I'm guessing this is 20 or 30 degrees. I've called it 910 after the Mongolian sniper. And I'm really proud of this first move where you catch the like crimp sideways and then you swap it, like swap the angle of your grip. I feel like it's really fun to like do those type of moves and incorporate like the use of a hold twice, like recycling it. So yeah, I was able to flash that. And then moving on to this like second V4, the idea of this climb was to work on my, I suppose, like tension and pockets. So I have feet really low, and then I'm going into this really weird pocket which is so far away, and it makes this move so much harder. But unfortunately I wasn't able to flash this, and I didn't want to give it another go because I didn't want to waste too much energy. But yeah, that's a really nice project, which I mean, I'm sure I'll be able to day flash. But yeah, I did want to give Nuggets a couple more tries, like even if that was off camera, just to build that, you know, those reps in my mind, and just get my body more like, just learn the moves really. And I feel like the really important, like, the make or break in this move uh is the flag, because that holds your body in place. And if I don't get like perfectly, then I'll just fall off because I don't have enough points of contact. So rounding off my session, I went to the outside board because why not? It was a nice warm day. I was like, yeah, I'll try this. So I set this with my dad, and yeah, I was working it, and it was really nice because the angle was so much harder, and like things like toe hooks and like bicycles are so important on that board. And I feel like if I'm able to just slowly keep progressing, a couple of things which I'd like to do is obviously put down this projects on my, like on the, I think it's like 40 degrees, 40 degrees at mirror, but also start working towards the outside board because that's really fun as well. But it does take a lot out of you. So yeah, I need to manage that. And yeah, thank you to everyone who's been watching. Please like and subscribe. And yeah, I hope you all enjoy your holidays.